It's not Valley Girl enough. Oh my god.
I was just so excited. I couldn't even finish that sentence. Because we are going back to the 90s. In fact, that should be the next Back to the Future film. When they remake those movies, call it Back to the 90s.
Street Sharks! And wait, was Street Sharks 90s?
Yes.
I don't
Yes,
remember.
it was. It was so 90s.
Because by the 90s, in the 90s, we still got 80s cartoons. So I don't know.
Think about it. Dude, sharks with huge muscles that swim through concrete.
They are totally
awesome.
Totally not ripoffs of the Ninja Turtles because they're sharks in the street.
They're gnarly, yo.
They eat hamburgers.
Not pizza, hamburgers.
Dude.
They could get drawn by Rob Liefeld.
Oh, fuck
chains, dude.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Grunge.
I need a better artist. Please no one recommend Liefeld for Wolverine and the X-Men.
Frank Miller.
Oh no.
Frank Miller? Does he eat raw?
That was so 90s. Frank Miller is like one of the epitomes of the 90s.
As a writer?
Yes.
Then he did some good stuff, right?
In the 90s?
Yeah, in the 90s, because I remember...
After the 90s...
Didn't he do All-Star Batman and Robin, the one where he goes, I'm the goddamn...
That does not count as good stuff.
I know, I wasn't counting that one.
Before there was Jawbreaker, but screw that. We've got the epitome of the 90s in this movie.
It's like a theme that's going through the current movies we're watching.
There is! Because, you know what? Our next movie is going to be so 90s. And it also works as an unofficial sequel to this movie. Because in this movie, Clueless, everyone's a lawyer.
What?
It's a family of super lawyers.
Wait, but Legally Blonde isn't 90s?
A family of super lawyers.
Legally Blonde's also better than this one.
We know you already like Legally Blonde, kind of.
I blame Dominican Republic.
I don't know what to say about that.
There was nothing on TV
except Legally Blonde.
Yeah,
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's pretty much true, really. At one point, Cartoon Network with crappy cartoons from Mexico because they didn't have Toonami on at the time, or Adult Swim was weird, and
they had bootleg He-Man.
They have
my grandma didn't have the anime channel anymore at this point. I was pissed that summer. I'm still pissed.
To this day.
To this day.
This movie. I guess we start with the cast, because I can't even begin to start with the story.
Okay, oh my god. We shall start off with our lead actress. I blame white chicks, too.
I'm surprised you can do that without starting to crack up.
You can't see me, but I am trying really hard.
As if.
Whatever. We
gotta just start talking about this movie.
And, what happened to Alicia Silverstone? She just kind of disappeared, I guess.
When I hear Silverstone, my first thought is the famous Jet Jackson from Disney Channel.
No! No!
I don't know why. Oh, wait.
That was in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was
She was Batgirl in Batman and Robin. That's what happened to her.
That is what happened to her. That's... Yeah. The black chick. I'm guessing she's Stacey Dash.
The black chick? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's Stacey Dash.
Here's my problem with her in this movie. She doesn't look like a teenager in this movie. She looks like she's in her 20s. Like the other one, they might be older because they do typically cast 20-year-olds as teenagers, but she still looked like a 20-year-old playing a teenager that looks like she's 20 years old.
Well,
Then we have... Go ahead.
It's sometimes surprising how old they cast certain roles.
Not to me. It was Heroes that broke it for me. When the cheerleader chick was dating that boy that could fly.
You do know that Stacey Dash was like 28 when this movie was.
There we go. I'm just saying. She looks 28.
What is that?
Then we have Brittany Murphy, rest in peace, playing the worst role in this entire movie, Ty. Oh, I hate Ty. I do. I think most of the flaws in this movie could be tied back to Ty. That was not meant to be a pun, but I can see how it's in there. Paul Rudd. It's like the beginning of Paul Rudd's career. And I personally like Paul Rudd as an actor.
Except he played a kind of a douche in this movie.
Why is he a douche? He was the brother role. He's as douchey as you and me. He's supposed to be the guy we relate to.
I couldn't relate to his...
Everything he did to his sister, I'm like, yeah, I've done that.
I've done that. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I hated how every time you see him make getting food from the fridge and then just leaving it out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's what pisses you off.
That pisses me off. You made a sandwich.
He's a rich white man in a rich white world. He can do it.
Well, I'm not, and I can't. That makes me mad. He's wasting food. That and his character seemed kind of pretentious.
He was a bit pretentious. He was reading
Yeah, you have to balance it out because when everyone else is so far from intellectual, you need to have one intellectual character.
Yeah, very true.
But I couldn't tell if he was actually intellectual or just one of those people that pretend to be intellectual.
You mean hipsters?
Yeah, hipster.
He goes to a fancy college and he helps with his stepdad's ex-stepdad? Whatever. Lawyer stuff.
Yeah, so does Alicia Silverstone's character.
The point is, he goes, don't. I will strangle everyone that you hate so that you can agree with me.
Oh, you can't kill some of these people because they're fictional characters.
And, who's the one that's friends with Seth Green that we were just talking about?
Who's, Breckenmeyer?
Yeah.
That's the pothead dude.
That's the pothead dude skater. Which is also incredibly 90s.
So
like that
very 90s.
By the amount of, like, the fashion, the skateboards they were the look of the skateboarders, yeah, it was 90s.
And then, of course, the last one that's worth talking about. Gangsta Turk. Yes.
Gangsta Turk.
Yes.
College, high school years.
No, there was also one that I found notable, but that's because he was in Princess Bride.
Yeah, I knew exactly who you're talking about, but I just don't remember his name.
Yeah, I had to look up his name.
I'm thinking he poisoned all those report cards. Is what happened there.
Well, he didn't have the poison in Princess Bride, did he?
Yeah, that was his role.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yes. No.
He had the poison.
I don't remember.
Spoiler.
I think the other guy had the poison. You're right. Because he built up a immunity to it, so...
Yeah.
Oh, what about Wallace Shawn?
I don't know who
the
that
teacher, the one teacher, the debate teacher.
No, that's who we were talking about.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Shit.
Yeah, go watch The Princess Bride. Anyway, and what this movie is, it's like the lady equivalent of Richie Rich. Except, it's better. You guys, I don't know if you've ever seen Richie Rich. Don't. That's a 0 out of everything movie. It's hard to talk about, like, this story because the story is just really weird to me.
And doesn't...
But I guess we could talk about the situation is our characters and these characters are in.
It's not like it matters because this TV series that comes after this pretty much makes everything here retcon. It retcons everything.
But it does matter because no one's watching that TV series.
I don't know about the books though, but there's a TV show pretty much makes everything non-canon.
I don't talk about this series, guys.
Fine.
I've already watched this movie.
Whatever.
Don't make me talk about the series.
Whatever.
I have not watched the series, luckily.
I wish we can get Lumpy Princess on this podcast. Lumpy Space Princess.
Oh, God.
She is so 90s.
Cannot handle his lumps. Oh, my glob.
Oh, 90s get me wet. So, Alicia Silverstone, let's figure out her character name. Cher. That's right.
Cher. Make a joke about it.
Her dad's a lawyer with crazy huge eyebrows who's, well, I don't know if
$100 an hour, apparently. Which was huge for the 90s.
That's why they lived in that gigantic house.
That's why she has a computer.
Yes.
Dressing system. What?
That's also why they have small cell phones. Because you saw Turk's cell phone in the middle of class. He had a gigantic Zack cell phone from Saved by the Bell.
She wakes up in the morning. She left her computer. There's a picture of her. She decides what clothes she wants to wear through this virtual reality computer system.
And she also takes Polaroid pictures instead of using a mirror.
And that's not because she's hipster, but because it's the 90s.
Plus, she has the money to do that.
She has the money.
The Monet. That's, Mel Brooks reference. Anyway. Oh, yeah, there's a lot.
Hipsters originated, well, in the 1940s, but they came about again in the 90s.
Wait, I thought they came about in the 2000s.
The 2000s. No, they started again in the 90s. Or late 90s.
Wow, they were actually hipster back then. Because no one knew about them until, like, the 2000s.
Yep.
And we have Stacey Dash, who isn't equally rich, or I don't know. She acts like she's equally rich. She might just be sucking off of Cher's money.
No, she lives in a pretty nice house.
And her name is Dion Davenport.
And they're both named after singers, Cher and Celine Dion.
And that's why they are the best players. Now, here's the thing that's unique about them. They are rich, yes. They are popular, yes. They are not assholes.
And
at
they don't know
nowhere near the extent of all these other movies.
I know, they aren't rich bitches. That's the thing. It makes it kind of hard to hate them.
No, I find it easy.
At times.
Okay. At times.
So, personally...
Because when you compare them to the rich bitches of the past movies, they're saints. They're saints.
They are. They really are.
But this was also a 90s movie.
So were the others.
I thought Mean Girls was at least.
Well, they don't.
Plus, this was set in middle school.
Mean Girls was like
middle school.
90s movie.
I thought they were in high school.
No, she was complaining about high school boys or something.
No, yes, because they're in high school and she thinks high school boys are immature. She wants like a mature guy. Because
he looked a bit young to be in high school for me, but that just might be because of how people look in high school nowadays.
That's because everyone in your high school class is Asian.
No. No, there were white people.
This is back, we should also mention, this is back when the whole hip-hop thing started really rising to the white people, so you have white people having their pants sagging, wearing like...
That was the first guy you saw was Turk, and his pants all the way down. You didn't know
he has a belt! He just leaves it, doesn't even tie the belt, he just has it on there.
He's the worst teacher for driving ever.
It's not his fault.
Well, they are terrible at driving, I will admit that much.
Well, no, because Cher, she was driving fine. Dionne Davenport, I just want to say, her acting was a little iffy at spots. I don't know if it's just because she was speaking 90s, and I just not, even though I grew up in the 90s, I obviously not 90s enough to understand her 90s.
Oh no.
Or maybe she was just acting off. I don't know.
Either way.
But the other major character is Ty. Ty is the new girl that they make over, like in all the other movies. And they make her popular.
And she's a pothead.
And she's kind of a pothead. And I don't know where she's from, but...
I thought she was like from, like, middle... Fuck, what am I thinking about?
I really thought you were going to say Middle Earth.
I almost said Middle East.
Well, she could have been from Middle Earth.
Middle
kind of works.
Middle America, like Great Plains area.
Yeah, because like when she shows up, she looks like the physical incarnation of grunge.
She had red Kool-Aid hair.
I hate red Kool-Aid hair, by the way.
With its ghetto hair dye.
Yeah.
I hate pseudo blonde hair. Why does everyone have to dye? Every brunette has to dye their hair blonde. Why? Stop it. That's just me. I mean, if it's just one person or like 500 people, or even 1 million people, this is like half of all brunette women just have blonde hair.
Just because they probably had blonde hair at one point in their life.
And then blonde-haired women don't want blonde hair. They dye their hair a different color. Like, this is so confusing.
No one likes their hair color.
Except, well, so, I was gonna say except emo women with black hair, because they don't need to dye their hair black.
You mean black? You mean black and pink and blue?
They just do that one red streak.
No, some of them dye their hair completely blue.
I want to do that.
Because they're emo that also happen to know that anime exists.
Oh. Now I don't want to do that as much now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now I'm just going to get it green.
Ty shows up, and she's the new girl.
You're totally ignoring the fact that we have the lesbian gym teacher?
Because that has nothing to do with the overall story. She has, like, no scenes.
Wait, that's not what I was talking about. That was in the scene. I was thinking of something. Oh, all their random excuses for getting out of, like, playing tennis. That was weird.
You know, what's weird is those gym clothes that everyone has.
That, too. I don't know what the hell is up with that. I think
I don't even think that was... I can't even blame 90s for that. That was just weird.
That was just... No, they're rich kids, so they have to wear
No,
clothes.
I think they brought their own gym clothes, so they can wear whatever they want for gym.
I'd be wearing blue jeans to the gym. Whatever t-shirt I'm wearing that day. But you know, I'm not rich enough to go to this school, so...
The pothead is.
Wait a second, this isn't a rich people's school.
Exactly.
This is LA. This is LA.
This is a very confusing school.
Exactly. Somehow this pot kid is somehow at first I thought it was a private school until I saw this dumbass pothead kid.
Well,
he's trying to kill himself.
He's filthy rich.
He's filthy rich. Where do you think a kid like him would get the money for that much pot?
He grows it.
Where do all of these potheads get the money to get their pot?
Their friends?
Exactly. And remember, every one of them in that entire school pretty much is a pothead. Only smokes pot, but only the pothead smokes pot outside of parties.
And carries his skateboard with him everywhere.
Put stickers on it.
Marvin the Martian.
I really hate people who add stickers to skateboards.
So you hate, what, 40, not even 40%, 70% of all skateboarders?
Well, the skateboarders I know.
Well, anyway, back to Tom. Because it's important that we get to Tom so I can tell everyone how much I hate him.
Have we introduced ourselves?
No.
We didn't.
We have not.
Oh my god.
So let's introduce ourselves. Okay. First we have Stray.
Hi guys. I was waiting to say that line.
He was. And then we have Ty. Ty?
I don't know a Ty. I'm Geo. Like, oh my god, I don't know what is wrong with you, but my name is Geo. I don't know why I can only do Valley Girls. I don't know what guys did in the 90s.
No one knows what guys did in the 90s.
No one wants to remember what the guys did in the 90s.
They pretended to be black?
Yeah. But that kind of doesn't work.
I can't do that.
That's not a solely 90s phenomenon.
Exactly. Though. Valley Girl was. So, yeah.
So, yes. We take Ty in. Out of the goodness of her heart, because Cher's been doing good deeds all these times, basically to get her grades up.
She's been negotiating.
Indeed. If it helps other people, and it helps her,
if this was a different movie, it would just be porn.
Huh. I was kind of expecting all of this to blow up in her face when I was trying to figure out the plot to this movie. And surprisingly, that doesn't happen.
I did too. Yeah. Well, Stray, I'm pretty sure somewhere out there, if there can be a porn parody of Scooby-Doo, there's probably one.
There's a porn parody of everything. There's a porn parody of Scrubs.
Yep.
Oh, God. now I'm thinking about Keith. How to go be the Mexican apple orchard thief.
Let's continue on the prequel and not dilute ourselves.
Okay. So she takes Ty in and makes her popular for really no reason at all.
Because she thinks I can mold this person into be exactly how I want them to be, and I shall be God.
That's not really what she thinks. That's what her ex-stepbrother thinks she thinks. See, you guys have a lot more in common than you're willing to admit. Get over the food, Gio.
Well, I can't. It's a waste of food, and because I'm the exact opposite, because pretty much, except for me and my mom, most of my other family does that.
One of the problems I have with this movie. Let's talk about the problems. I realize that's how I open up, but that's how I get into the problems with, like, all of these reviews. I always say that sentence. One of the problems I have with this movie.
Yes.
Elton. Not just Elton, the character himself. He doesn't have really a large role, but here's what happens. Ty falls in love. No, Ty crushes on the stoner skateboarder guy. From the get-go.
Because he's the first guy she talks to there.
I mean, it takes like 2 seconds.
Hey, you like Marvin the Martian? I draw Marvin the Martian!
That's basically it.
Oh, God. If things actually work like that.
I know, if it was that easy. Cher and Dion. Oh gosh, I hate that name, Dion.
Just call her Black Chick.
I
Just call her not Carla.
And the anti-Carla said, no, you need to date someone popular.
Then
so they try to hook her up with Elton. My problem with this is that Ty never really falls in love with Elton, but when Elton decides to break up with her, she acts like she was in love with Elton.
She's a girl.
I'm so confused. How does that work? I don't like you. You rejected me, so I'm not gonna act like my soul is crushed all of a sudden.
What she can't have. She's a girl.
But technically, wouldn't that make the skateboarder forbidden fruit? Since she's not allowed to be with him because he's not popular enough, so therefore she can't have him, so they should have been together from the get-go? Your logic works that way.
It doesn't work that way. Just because this is also high school girls. They have to fit into their clique.
I'm so glad I was never a high school girl.
Me too.
Me neither.
And, I have no idea where I was going with that. Oh, you know what? That was exactly where I was going with that. That whole idea is done. That's finished.
Oh, okay.
But we can continue talking about Elton.
Every time you say Elton, I'm just thinking, John?
Me too. See, funny. Who decides, hey, I'm just gonna be this close to being a date rapist. I'm not gonna get there, cause I know the law, but I'm gonna get real nice and close to being a date rapist.
Roofies?
And then, what?
Roofies? Just before the roofies?
I really thought you just said boobies out of nowhere.
Oh, sorry. Boobies.
So, he gets on Cher, hits on her really strongly in the car. And then, I love this. It's just like that Key and Peele sketch. She's like, I'm getting out of the car, I'm mad at you. And then he drives off, like, okay. And then she's, where are you going? You got out of the car, you told him to leave, you left. And then she gets robbed. Because that's kind of what happens. Why are you laughing? That's not funny. Oh yeah, then she got robbed at gunpoint.
This was L.A.
I'm a terrible person.
Wasn't this L.A.?
It is strange, cause this is what happens in the car. Hey, why don't you go out with Ty? Go out with Ty? Don't you know who my father is? How do those two ideas connect?
Well,
maybe.
Wait, wasn't he like hitting on her like throughout the whole movie?
Well, no, because he like disappears at the halfway point. But yeah, from the beginning.
Yeah, every time we saw them in the classroom together, he always went around and kissed her. I mean, she should have gotten some idea.
But this is where the friend zone comes from.
Who is his father? Now I want to know.
It's Darth Vader.
Does his father beat him if he dates ugly chicks? Is that what happens?
I isn't that ugly.
She's not. But maybe she's not good enough.
Maybe he can't date chicks with dyed hair. We never know.
You and this dyed hair thing.
I'm sorry. That's the only trait I remember about Ty, so...
It's not the only trait you're going to remember before this review is over.
Sure.
So, let's go to... this is what I call story number 2. Because you can kind of break it into parts, I guess.
Yeah.
This is where she decides to get Ty a new guy. And instead, she gets herself a new guy. Now, let's play a game called How Soon Did You Know This Guy Was Gay? Because I figured it out at the party when he was laughing too hard with the guy across the bar.
And how he just threw that girl off him.
Oh, yeah. That also happened at that same scene. And I'm like, okay, he's gay. I wonder when she's going to find out he's gay. So they're talking to each other on the phone, and there's a painting in the background of two gay guys. We're like, they're not really being subtle about this revelation, are they?
They aren't.
Well, this is based off a novel. Maybe that happened in the novel.
Well,
it don't happen in the novel. I hope you give it any leeway.
But that was Bridget Jones. This was 90s.
That makes all the difference.
Yeah. No, this was also supposedly a kid's film, I guess.
But here's the thing about this character. At first, I didn't like him. Because he was cool in the 90s way. And 90s cool is very weird to me.
It is, actually.
He's like one step up from being Fonzie. Or maybe one step down towards being Fonzie. I don't know. But he acted like he saw Grease one too many times. But at the same time, as far as gay characters go, he's a pretty good gay character. Because, he's not one of those overly flamboyant gay best friends.
Yeah.
Oh,
that you see in all these other movies. He seems like a genuine human being.
The only other time I think we've seen a genuine gay guy that wasn't overly flamboyant, Mamma Mia. We didn't even know until the end.
Yeah, that just came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so props for that. In the 90s. I mean, in the 90s?
We're still having problems with gay marriage nowadays. At least you guys are. We aren't.
Hey. No, we will send our gay haters up there.
They're too salty.
And then they'll complain
about
how this Canada ain't America. Why can't you be more American there in Canada?
No.
You think it's bad now? Wait
They're
till
far down
2040 when they create gay hunting signals.
Oh, no. You don't understand. They are too far down south. They will freeze if they come up here.
So are we, Stray. And we'd survive some vicious wind.
Oh boy, did
that vicious wind made the wind I felt Monday when I went to class like a poo babby wind.
Hey, I don't get cold. Even I was cold.
What temperature was it?
We don't know. We were in a wind tunnel of cold.
Life had never been colder.
I am betting it was. I don't even know where this accent.
I don't know either.
I don't know where that accent was coming from. I'm trying to figure out what it was while speaking.
You tried to be fancy. Your pinky was up and everything.
I could always talk like this with my candy canes and rainbows.
Yeah, you can. You're very good at that.
You insult this man.
You are incredibly good at that.
You insult Christian here, man.
Anyway, let's talk about the end now. Because I don't have a lot of notes left. Because there's not a lot of things going on in this movie, and I guess, like I said, I'll talk about this later. But the story structure of this movie is just not typical. It's atypical. So, let's talk about Ty. No, screw that Ty. Well, I'm going to come back to Ty. Let's talk about Cher and... Cher and Josh. In the end, Cher decides, hey, I'm in love with my ex-stepbrother.
The whole time.
The whole time. From the moment he walked inside this house. And I'm like, this wasn't really built up well. It's one of the problems I have in this movie, because nothing in this movie is really built up well. There's some longing looks from Josh's behalf that actually just seemed kind of forced instead of foreshadowed. But there was really nothing from Cher's behalf until like much, much later when the movie's about to end. Like I said, I don't have too much else to say, so I guess I'll just throw everything else I have on the table.
Okay. Go ahead.
I will. It does pull some problems I had in other movies into this movie. For example, Ty, I mentioned I hate her. Why do I hate her? Because in addition to all of her relationship decisions making no sense, and that means going out with the skater bro from the trying to go out with the skater dude from the very beginning after one conversation, trying to go out with Elton, failing, being sad that Elton rejected her, even though she didn't have any real emotions for him. Falling in love with Josh because of one dance. She just jumps around way too much, and she becomes an asshole for no reason. And then after she becomes an asshole for no reason, she becomes a decent person again for no reason.
No, I wouldn't say no reason.
There was no reason because it happened off screen. Exactly. She was just an asshole. She left. She came back. I'm sorry. What happened?
No.
What made you change your mind? That's good movie making.
Because normally the story would focus on her instead of on Cher.
That's true. She would be like at least a good chunk of this movie in any of those other movies.
Yeah.
But the story's about Cher, not about her.
This time it's about the rich bitch rather than...
who isn't really a bitch.
That's probably my main issue with this movie, because this movie does jump around a lot. I don't understand the point that this movie is trying to make. I don't understand the narrative structure of this movie, because if someone asks me what this movie is about, what can I tell them? It's about this girl. What else can I say?
Like, it's a high school story. There's not much more to it.
But at least the other stories just weren't a bunch of events thrown together.
It's basically...
with an ending. I mean, they're actually telling the story there. And here, they aren't.
This is basically if you tried doing a slice of life movie.
If they went that route.
Yeah.
If they went at that route full force instead of being pulled back and trying to add, like, some closure or finishing stories and just half-assing it, then yes, that it would have benefited greatly from that. Because there's not a full story here. I really don't know
who to root.
Just
you can't root for anyone, basically.
Well, that's not true. I found all the characters except Ty and Elton and some random guys in the background that tried to throw Ty off of the second floor of the mall likable.
They're likable, but you don't know who to root for. I'm saying you can like them, but you really don't feel that much attachment.
You don't know who to root for because mostly there aren't a lot of serious problems presented in this movie.
Yeah, that's another big problem of this movie. There isn't really much problem, so you really can't have a climax without a bunch of problems.
But at the same time, I'm really glad they didn't force an antagonist in there at the last minute. That's one of my pet peeves.
Oh, true.
What's her name? Cher was supposed to have an antagonist, but she didn't really play a big part in this. You see her at the beginning for a little bit, and that's it.
Oh yeah, you see her. Like, she's sprinkled in there, and Cher basically just jokes on her, and she just walks away with her head down because she can't come up with a comeback. And another thing I didn't like about this movie is that it kind of wraps up too cleanly. And that kind of comes from, like, so much of it being solved off screen. Everything wraps up so neatly without anyone trying. Like, when Ty turns into a bitch and she leaves, Cher doesn't fix that. Cher doesn't try to fix that. That fixes itself.
Yeah.
Because it's the end of the movie. That's why. Everyone gets a happy ending because it's the end of the movie.
Does Ty end up with anyone?
Yeah, the douchey skater. Well, I'm not gonna call him douchey. The skater stoner.
Oh. I wasn't paying attention by that part.
The guy she should have ended up with at the beginning.
And saved us a lot of time.
Yeah.
Everyone a lot of time, actually.
That's why I say, I wish Ty, even though I do like Brittany Murphy, I wish Ty wasn't in this movie so that they can, like, clean it up a little bit. The movie wouldn't be everywhere.
No, you could have shortened the movie, is the thing. You could have cut out a bunch of scenes. And
there were a few scenes that I thought was filler.
Yeah.
Like when she was talking about how 90s boys don't know how to dress. I'm like, well,
boys don't know how to dress nowadays anyways.
We know how to dress well enough. That's our motto. Yeah. Our motto isn't good, it's well enough. That's how we do everything.
Basically.
Did I get an A? No, but I did well enough. I'm not going to try to type all my teachers turn a C into an A.
Yeah. And I don't think teachers do that nowadays anyways.
Well, no, but, you know, they did in the 90s, apparently. Super 90s.
Yeah.
TV 90s.
TV 90s. Not real 90s. TV 90s.
So yeah, this movie is a little bit all over the place. And I have my issues with it, but I do want to denote some positive things about this movie. And that...
it was actually kind of funny.
Yes, it has some generally funny moments in this movie. In fact, just about everything with Turk was funny.
Of course, but that's because it's Turk.
Yeah, but... I mean, even though I don't really care for DL acting, Stacey Dash, and her role in this movie, them together, that's good entertainment right there.
That dynamic worked.
It worked, that's right.
Just like in Scrubs.
She was his JD.
Before JD.
You know, there are other parts, like, when their song, like when Ty was talking about their song, when their song was Rolling with the Homies, and she was crying to Rolling with the Homies, I feel like every time I hear this song, I want to start crying. And like, why? It was our song. That's why. It's Rolling with the Homies. That's the best dating song ever. You can't have a better song.
No. That's just welcoming bros before hoes. That's just like asking to be bros before hoes.
Like, if you go to a wedding and like they get married and the song they immediately play for them to dance to is
Their
"Rolling
first
with the
dance.
Homies."
You know there's something ghetto about them.
You know that marriage isn't gonna last that long. Even though I guess it's strange how these two teachers got together. I do like both of the teachers in this movie, and there's more than two teachers. But I mean, the main two teachers. I thought the skate bro had some funny moments, like when he got on the podium and thanked everybody for being late.
What about the one where he tried jumping out of the first floor window after he got his report card? That was a good joke.
This movie has some good humor.
It has a good sense of
humor. That's more than you can say for a lot of these teen chick flicks that we've had to force ourselves.
A lot of these romantic comedies.
We had
a lot of these everything that we've watched.
Then again, this one is sort of supposed to be like a satire parody.
This movie is obviously more of a comedy than it is a drama.
Yeah, that's what it's meant to be.
And that's really its main strength.
That also brings out its main weakness of not having a plot.
Yeah, and on the vice versa. Why did that sound Italian the way I said that?
The vice versa.
Anyway.
Mario!
Mario is not 90s enough.
Woohoo!
Didn't he have a TV show in the 90s, or was that the 80s?
He is so 90s, I was just lying.
Do the Mario.
Wave your arm. Go side to side. Come on. Time to go.
Okay,
let's keep going.
Mario. Mario. I need some pizza, Mario.
Luigi. I'm too fat, Luigi.
Come on, Mario.
I'm not saving Princess Peach anymore. You tell her to get over here. My diabetes is acting up.
We're supposed to meet her and Princess Daisy for tennis.
She keeps giving me cake.
And Daisy gives me pie. I don't see what the problem is.
I have type A diabetes.
You have no one yourself but to blame for that, Mario. After all that running and jumping, you would think you would lose some weight.
He does lose some weight when he's getting hit by a Goomba.
You're getting too into this.
I was like, I should just let you guys do this, and I'll be Kirby in the background.
Just popped in as Toad.
I know.
I don't know what I would say as
gay Toad.
I'm the best.
I'm totally useless.
Damn right you are.
I mean, the only other thing I have to say, I've noticed that when Cher was getting stressed out, and she said, you know what? I need to go to the mall. And my first thought was, she's like a Green Lantern. And the mall is her power battery.
That's with Valley Girls, your first thought should be the mall.
I think, even though we were all over the place in this review, kind of like this movie is a little bit all over the place.
That's what happens when we review movies that are all over the place.
I do believe that we kind of nailed the issue on the head. So there's not a lot much more to talk about. So let's get these final reviews on, starting with Gio.
This movie is very 90s.
It is so 90s.
It makes me kind of nostalgic for the 90s that I never got to experience.
Like that song that start like at the opening credits.
Oh yeah,
Kids in America. That song is so stupid 90s.
When I hear that song, my first thought is the Digimon movie. But this movie is decently funny. I didn't hate it. It focused on a different character than what would normally be the focus for these types of movies, at least for later.
Girl?
Yeah, instead of the geeky new girl or something, we focus on the rich girl who isn't really a rich bitch. And the one that could have been the rich bitch is pretty much, she's thrown on the bus and sent out to the middle of nowhere by like halfway through this movie.
Not even halfway. By the beginning.
It's pretty funny seeing a lot of these stereotypes. The Persians came out of nowhere. It's like, they're the Persians. You can't be with them unless you got a BMW. I was thinking, well, this is California. Normally you would think the Latinos. Because this cannot be a school full of rich kids when you have those potheads.
Potheads can be rich. What are you talking about?
I just can't imagine them being like in a rich school, in like a really good school, and making so many bad grades. I guess I'll give it like maybe a 6 or a 6.5. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Wait, aren't we on a 5-point scale?
We're on a 5 point. I thought it was a 10 point.
Did we ever give a review over 5?
No.
Oh, so
we've been on a 5-point scale. You might want to go back and change all of your older reviews. Because if you gave them like a 2 on a 5-point scale, they should be much, much worse on 10.
Wow.
Well, I think Steel Magnolias would be the 2 bar.
I mean, he said
if
he thought it was a 2-point scale and he gave it a 2, and it's actually a 5-point scale, then that should be like 0.5.
Yeah.
Seriously, this whole time I thought we've been on a 10-point scale.
Wait.
Wow.
Wait, how didn't you rate Little Women 4 and we all said that was a good movie?
4 is good for him. He doesn't get his hopes that high.
This is a 5-point scale. I'll give it like 3.5, maybe 4. No. They show it on Comedy Central so damn much. This movie has to be at least decently good. 3.5, I guess, out of 5. Yeah, I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
All right, Stray, what do you think?
Most you covered it as usual, because most of us don't have that different of tastes around here, so usually one review says
Hard Candy says different, Stray.
Hard Candy.
Yes, but there are also movies that we do differ on, but this is kind of a clean-cut movie of... It's a good comedy, kind of. Like, I will laugh at the jokes here and there. I found the plot very lacking, as N said before. What else is there? Yes, it's very 90s. We have to mention that.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Always and forever.
Also, the soundtrack, I can't really say anything good about the soundtrack.
You can't say it's nostalgic.
It's not nostalgic at all. I barely recognize most of these songs. But if I had to give it a numerical value out of 5, I would give it a 3. It's better than 70% of the movies I've been made to watch because of this show. And take it off.
Well, excuse me, princess.
You just wanted to work that line in there, didn't you?
Because that is also 90s.
I had to say it because I was Mario earlier, so now I have to be Link.
Do I have to be Navi?
Does that mean I have to be Captain N?
Oh no!
Because that might involve the eggplant. It might involve the weird ass eggplant wizard or Mother Brain or whatever else they had on there.
You be Simon Belmont from Captain.
Oh god.
90s. Here's the thing about this movie that I like probably more than anything else. Now it is not a heavy movie. It's not a dramatic movie. It's a light, optimistic, colorful movie.
I can't be optimistic anymore.
What it is. What?
I can't be optimistic anymore.
It's okay. Wait until you see City of Angels.
Oh.
You thought you were pessimistic now. Anyway.
Enjoy these next few movies until City of Angels.
Hey, it's probably still better than Bridget Jones' Diaries in my book.
It won't be. Well,
I said, I like all the characters except Ty. And that's it's not Brittany Murphy's fault. It's just she makes some terrible decisions. I can see all these characters succeeding and me not being angry about any. I'm not angry that Cher is rich. Sometimes I just get angry at people because they have money. So, for me not to be like...
You mean like brats?
Yes, exactly like brats. So for me to like so many of these characters, just, even though they're rich, that's a thumbs up in my book. Of course, we talked about the humor, which is good. But we also talked about this movie's big failing point. And there's some. It's basically all on the technical side of the movie. A good thing about this movie is I didn't check to see what time it was until it was like 57 minutes in.
Yeah, same here.
The bad thing of this movie is I had to check and see what time it was.
At some point.
At all. I mean, really, if they had just focused on some story aspects, or took away all the story aspects and made it a complete slice of life thing,
with comedy,
it would have been a way better movie for me. Because, most of the time when I'm judging these movies, unless something really stands out, I'm judging it based on the story. So I really notice it when it's just crazy. It's like, if a story is a line on a chalkboard, it'd be like a little kid put his hand on that line and rubbed it all over the place. But I give this movie a 3 out of 5. It's like you take all the good things about it, you take all the bad things about it, you put it together, and you get a 3.
You get the facts of life.
No.
And I know that seems average. And I know the movie itself seems better than average. But you have to understand that our version of average is so much worse. That through all of these reviews, typically, average for a chick flick is a 2.
Depends on the movie, because we haven't been reviewing that many bad movies lately.
We haven't been reviewing that many really bad movies. I mean, technically, Jawbreaker was a 2.5 for me. And so it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
This is a decent movie. And that's all I can say about it. It's not great.
I would not watch it on cable, but that's because I probably couldn't sit through it.
I would not watch the whole thing on cable.
Yeah.
I would watch parts of it if I caught it at the right moment.
At least I know what I'm getting into if it's ever on Comedy Central again, which is probably going to be this weekend.
Like Dion and Turk arguing over him getting his head shaved, I'd watch that if I was flipping channels and that was on. But then after that's over, I'm going to finish flipping channels.
Yeah.
And that was Clueless. Also, notice how they forced that title in over and over and over again. Next time. Would you like to see another rich blonde lady be a lawyer?
No.
And have
actually be a lawyer?
Well, you're going to.
Well, we're going to.
We are reviewing...
We are going to Harvard, y'all.
Legally Blonde. Oh, boy.
Oh, it's not so bad. It's not bad.